Hey guys, I'm gonna go over the Microteach for week 4. And the first one is the left-leaning red-black tree. And so for this one, I'm gonna go over first of all what are the invariants. And an invariant essentially is like what defines a left-leaning red-black tree, where if these rules were not true, it would be an invalid tree. So let's go over them one by one, and these are really important. So the first is that left descendants are less than the current node. The second is that right descendants are greater than the current node. And you might recognize this to just be a BST invariant, where the order of whether you put something as a left child or right child depends on the comparisons with the parent node. So yeah, this is a binary search tree invariant. The next invariant is that no node can have two red links. So we'll go over some examples of that, but that's just something to remember. And then all red links have to be left leaning. And you can remember that as it's called a left leaning red black tree. And finally, every path from the root to a leaf node should have the same number of black links. So if you iterate from the root to every single leaf node and you count for every single pathway how many black edges there are, they should all be equal. And we'll also go through an example of that. It's just a fun fact that the Java tree set implementation is a red-black tree, which is a self-balancing binary search tree. It's not exactly the same as what we've been learning in class, but just something fun to remember. So here's an example of a valid binary search tree, or valid LLRB tree. Let's just go over the invariants really quick. The left descendants are less than the current node. B is less than G. A is less than B. C is greater than B but less than G. And then right descendants are greater than the current node. So X is greater than G. C is greater than B. Essentially, we're doing this based off of the ASCII character values, or also just alphabetical order. Okay, then that's the first two. No node has two red links. Well, we only have one red link overall, and so that is valid. And then all red links are left leaning. So yeah, this is pointing kind of to the left. It's leaning to the left. And then every path from root to leaf has the same number of black links. So this is our root, and A, C, and X are our leaves. So let's go from G to A. So that has one black edge. G to C has one black edge, and G to X also has one black edge. So that means that all of these invariants are true, and therefore this is a valid left-leaning red-black tree. Okay, so we're going to go over just really quickly the intuition on what tree rotation means. So when we say rotating right, that basically means that we're shifting things over. Like, say we're picking up B and we're rotating it to the top, and so D would come down as well as everything greater than D. And so you can just think about it that way. If we're rotating left, maybe we would pick up D, and we'll pull it to the top, and then B would go down. You'll notice this purple node has to be adjusted on which side it goes to. You can practice this on your own with certain numbers, and you'll notice that this general tree structure will be true every single time. Okay, so this is just some intuition, so I will move on from this quite quickly. So these are the actual specific rules for how we maintain the invariance on insertion. So the first rule is that we always insert new elements with a red link. So let's just do an example really quick. Let's pretend that there's no 9 here, so we have 6 and 1. If we had to insert a 9 into this tree, we would go from 6. Is 9 greater than 6? Yep. So we go to the right, and then we insert it here, and then we insert with a red link. So hopefully, like, how 9 got here makes a little bit of sense. And then if the right child is red and the left child is black, which is exactly this situation here, we rotate left. So I know this arrow is pointing right, but essentially we have to rotate such that it goes this way. So how do we do that? We pick up 9 and we rotate it such that the invariants are true. So we go from 9, 6, and 1. I hope this makes sense. We sort of just rotate things to the left by 1. And then in the situation where the left child and left grandchild are red, rotate right. So in that situation, say this is our parent, the left child is 6, and let's say this is also a red link. So that would be in this third instance, in this case, we would rotate right. So we would rotate this way. And incidentally, it would be exactly this, except with two red children. Now, let's actually look at this example. If both children are red, flip the colors of the children to black and flip the color of the parent link. So I'm going to make this diagram a little bit, oh, there's my mouse. I'm going to make this diagram a little bit bigger so that we can see a little bit of a larger picture. So say like the node at top of this is like 0 or something, and then, it goes on to whatever else is on the other side of the tree. So say we have this situation as in bullet point 4. Both children are red. So what we're going to do is first we're going to flip the colors. We're going to flip this to be black, and we're going to flip this to be a black edge. So flip the colors of the red children, and then flip the color of the parent link. So currently it's black. We're going to turn that into red. That just makes sense. You'll notice this breaks another invariant, and you have to keep on going to make sure that it doesn't break those invariants. So specifically, in this case, the right child is red and the left child is black, so you would have to rotate left, and rotating left means rotating that way. So I'm just giving some examples of what steps we might take, but hopefully these steps individually make sense and how we would do those. I really, really encourage you to create an example of a tree and practice these steps, practice an insertion. I will also go over the example that Pragnath was going over in class and go finish it from start to end so that we can do many of these rotations so that you guys can see that. All right. I really hope that made sense. Please let me know if you have questions. So here's an example problem of some invalid left-leaning red-black trees. I'm just going to put them on the screen. If you can, just take a second to look through these and figure out why they're invalid. Okay, so hopefully you paused and took a look at it. Maybe it was reviewed from section, but let's go over this first one. So how the steps that we're going to take is that we're going to look at the tree and we're going to go through each of the invariants and see if it breaks any of those. So the first thing that we have to look at is this a binary search tree? Meaning, is this everything to the right being greater than the current node and everything to the left being less than the current node? So we can go through this step by step. But basically, you have to check the alphabetical order, and I can just tell you it's true. You can also go and confirm that for yourselves. The next thing to note is that every single red link is left-leaning, and that is true. Both of these red links from C and B are left-leaning. And then the other thing which we have to look out for is that there cannot be two red edges from a single node. And you'll notice that's the invariant that we break, because B has two different red edges. It's from A and it's from C. I hope this made sense. That is the invariant that we're breaking here. So this is not a valid LLRB tree. Okay, so moving on to the next one. This is also a valid BST. I'll leave it to you to go over the alphabetical order. All the red edges are left-leaning, so that's okay. There is no node that has two red edges, so that's also okay. But we notice on this final invariant that if we go from the root and we go down to every single leaf node, and we count how many black edges there are, so from G to B to A, there's only one. From G to B to C, there's two. And there we go. That's the invariant that we broke. So this is also not a valid LLRB tree. And then it's going to be a very similar situation here. GBA, there's two black edges there. GBC, there's two. But then GX, there's just the one. So this is invalid. I really hope this made sense. Please let me know and reach out if I can help clarify why each of these are wrong. Okay, so that is the end of this first Microteach, but keep an eye out for the next few. I will be sure to be posting that as soon as possible. Thank you.